Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds Breakdown Wild Card Edition Playoffs. We are the Montgomery Brothers. I'm Jim.
I'm Kyle. What's going on?
And I don't know, man. I'm starting to get pumped now. It's Thursday night. I'm like, let's do this. Before we get into anything, and I know we're going way out of order. It just popped in my head. Did you happen to see Brandon Graham's letter that he wrote?
I did. And I want to keep reading it. I want to keep reading it over and over and over. And I hope that they show it on the Jumbotron at the game on Sunday because, man, gives me goosebumps.
I'm getting
If you
them right
want to
now.
talk about a guy that gets it, a guy that gets the city and like embraces it and gets the fans, gets everything about it, like, I know we all have that love for, Doc and, certain guys and AI and like, but from an Eagles perspective, you got Doc, Kelsey, like they loved it. BG's up there, man. BG is for real up
He
there
is.
because and I don't think it's pandering either. Like, I don't think it's because he knows what to say to get everybody hyped up. I think it's real. I think it's absolutely real with them.
I think so too, because I think if you go back to when everybody wanted to get rid of him because of the injury, he's a bust, he's this, and he just kept plugging away. I think if anybody, like I put him almost up there with his experiences with like Mike Schmidt, who went back and forth with the fans, but at the end of the day, Mike Schmidt did get it. He just wasn't as boisterous, I guess, as BG is.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody loves about BG is the fact that he's like our mouthpiece as fans because he says all the stuff on the field that we wish we could say, and he says it. He does it, you know. And that's why I think he's such a fan favorite because look, I don't want to say he's not had a stellar career because he has because the longevity speaks for itself, and he's up there on the Eagles ranks. He's going to be an Eagles Hall of Famer one day. There's no doubt about it. He's one of four people to have two titles, and hopefully he's soon to be one of three people with three titles, right? So, unless they bring back what's his face, the long snapper Lovato to try to sneak in there. Yeah, sneak in there. Did he start the year with us or did he retire? I think he retired, right?
I think they got rid of him at the beginning of the year because they picked up that dude and then they cut him and then he just retired.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I was like, damn, if he was on the practice squad or something, he's still going to get a ring if they end up getting a ring. So, crazy.
No, I had to point that out because it's kind of setting the tone for like where I am right now mentally. It was just reading that and I'm like ready to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It definitely gets you fired up and goosebumps, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, that game last week did not have me wanting to run through a brick wall. 24-17, a game that, I don't know, they should have won that game, but it is what it is. I don't think they had any intentions of, if they won, great, but I think they were just like, this is what we're going to do, and this is what happened. And I think the defense played pretty decent, but due to the lack, and you noticed it, and even which he's great too. Why can't I think of his name now? The commentator, Ross Tucker.
Yeah,
like he's good. Like I will say,
good,
he's really good. But he mentioned it. He was like, these guys are tired, and you saw it on that last touchdown drive that he who will remain nameless for the time being pulled his famous Ben Simmons impersonation. But they were tired.
Same
but
vibes.
I think they played well.
Dude, like, how do you I was sitting there and I couldn't believe what I just saw. Like, I remember sitting right here in the basement and watching Ben Simmons go up for a dunk and then pass to Matisse Thybulle, of all people, who, like, I'm nothing against Matisse Thybulle. He was a great defender and, like, he could shoot a three every now and then, but, like, when you think of a guy that's gonna, like, rock the rim and do something. Matisse Thybulle was not that guy. Ben Simmons had
No.
like more ability to do it, and he gave it up. So I'm sitting there Sunday watching that game, and I'm like, what is he doing? Why did he take? You know what it looked like? Remember playing Madden and like the defender would get stuck and then all of a sudden just go the opposite way, like
Yes.
you hit the wrong
Yes.
button. That's exactly it looked like a video game glitch. Like, wait a minute, he's not really going that way, is he? Like, why did he go backwards? It made no sense. You're he's on the 4 yard line. 4 yard line. It's him and you in the end zone. Like that's the Oklahoma drill. Like that's what that
Right.
is. And you totally bitched out. We're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
But and then if you look at the replay, like you could think, oh, maybe he was going to pick up that receiver. The receiver was, I mean, he had a step on whoever was covering him, but you just didn't know where you needed to go.
No, and on that play, you make the play on the court. It's like when the quarterback runs the option. Your goal, take out the quarterback. If he makes the pitch and the guy runs 80 yards for a touchdown, guess what? You did your job.
Right.
So if you do your job and put a lick on him and he throws a touchdown pass, guess what? You weren't the one in
Good
coverage that
job.
was a step behind. Good job. You took out the quarterback. You prevented him from running into the end zone. That's just football 101, man. Like that was the dumbest thing I think. And look, I listened to people all week try to give him the benefit of the doubt and justify it. There's no justification. There's none. Absolutely none.
No. Put your hands up. Like try to
Something.
make his vision. Like yeah.
Even if you go after him and he jukes the living hell out of you, that's better than what you did. You literally were
right.
like, nah, here you go. Just walk right in. Walk right in. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all,
Yeah, but
man.
Josh Johnson is 39. He's not putting a juke on you. Like
No, he's
you're
probably going to pull a groin if he tries to juke you. He's running straight at you. Like that's all it is, you know.
right.
Uh, but look, they're and again, we said it before and we'll say it again. These guys are backups for a reason, right? They can come
Yes.
in a pinch, but they're not meant to play a whole game. So, having said that, can we stop with the Tanner McKee nonsense? He's a backup quarterback for a reason. And before we get started, I'll tee it up for you. Don't come at us with the whole, hey, I still want to see, I think he can run the offense better with the starters. Stop it. The dude is like a statue. He's worse than Jared Goff when trying to get
Yes.
away from anybody. Like he can't move at all. He's not mobile. So done. And the accuracy, I know he was throwing to second string people. The accuracy was not there either. Not there at all. Not there at all.
No. And I mean, and I got skewered this week on social media for saying that. They're like, "Oh, but you stick by Jalen. He didn't have any completions in the second half against Buffalo." And look, Tanner McKee may have played a lot better with the full first team out there. I'm not even going to debate that, and that was never my debate. He threw 263 yards, great to second string guys, but to me, it was his decision making. He gave up at least two first downs that if he'd have just ran, they were wide open. They were like third and fours, and all he had to do was just run, take the angle, go out of bounds, put the ball over, and you're fine. Ones that Jalen may have broke for longer runs, but would have made. Some of those decisions on those throws, like at least you can say what you want. Jalen had the 5 turnovers in the San Diego game, but that last play of the game, I know it's fourth down. I know it was nearly impossible for you to come back and win. Who was he throwing to? You didn't give anybody a chance to make that catch, but you're going to be the starting quarterback. So,
Right.
like I said, and this is not a knock against Tanner. I'm not going against him. It's for all of you out there who are like, Tanner McKee should be starting over Jalen Hurts. No, he shouldn't.
I also
That's it.
want to throw out there, like before the season started, and even up until a few weeks ago, would you trade Tanner McKee for a second round pick? And so many people were like, "No, no, he's the future of this franchise." now what would you say? I would have traded him 6 times over for a second round pick.
Absolutely.
100%.
I,
100%.
I probably would have
Now,
traded him for a third round pick, to
dude,
be
and
honest.
I don't think this game is indicative of how we should feel about Tanner McKee in any way, shape, or form. I still think he's a talented quarterback, and I do think that he has potential. But these guys were, in my estimation, they should have been playing as hard as they possibly could. Like one said, Tank Bigsby, to put some stuff on tape for next
Yes.
year, right? So like that, treat it like a preseason game to get picked up and show these other teams what you can do. That's what happened. What was it? 2000, I don't know, 2009, 10, 11, somewhere around there when Russell Wilson got drafted. Matt Flynn did that, right? Matt Flynn had a great 6 touchdown game with Green Bay, went to Seattle, got this big contract. They drafted Russell Wilson. He didn't even start, Matt Flynn didn't even start the season as the starting
Yeah.
quarterback. It was Russell Wilson because he outplayed him. But he got his bag, right? Because of one game. So that's what could have happened. That's what these guys should have been doing. Jalen Hunt for sure balled out, but he's one of our starters, like he's a solid guy on defense. So I don't know.
Dude, I can't believe that like the athleticism that he has to like that interception was just he looked like a defensive back out there. Like that
Yeah,
was just an incredible
to get his
interception.
arms underneath it, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and kudos to him for which I guess it makes sense, but never really thought about it, being the first Eagle to ever lead the team in interceptions and sacks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. And you think about it, the only other one that probably would have been close would have been Seth, right?
Yep.
But when Seth played, he played with Reggie, he
That's
played with Jerome, he played with Clyde. So like those guys were monsters at rushing the passers. So like even if he had like 8 or 9 sacks and like 6 interceptions, he wasn't going to lead the team in sacks with that
no.
defense at that time,
That's a hell of an accomplishment to get even 6 sacks with those guys up front anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, I kudos to him for that, man. That's a big accomplishment. Now, having said that, it's pretty, I don't want to say sad, but it's pretty eye-opening to consider the fact that he's our sack leader and was he at 6? 5.5,
I
six
think
and
it
a
was
half, something like
6.
that. So
Yeah.
that's a little concerning, but at the same time, like I don't look at that as much because like in 2022 we broke the records for sacks for defense, and in the Super Bowl we had no traction on the field, right? So like as long as we're getting pressure, I don't care if we actually get the sacks or not.
Yeah.
QB hurries is what I care about, and like the pressure. So but yeah, he's the project that they drafted him as, and what he's becoming right now. It seems like it's working, man. It seems
He's
like it's working.
way further ahead than what I would have expected at this point.
Yeah, because I think he was a safety or something, right? Like isn't that what they drafted him? Or a linebacker?
What
Like he was something
what
like that. Nickel, maybe
he
a nickel back.
I think he was, and then but they drafted him to play what he is because they
Correct.
saw his size. But because what he from like a small like Bible school like
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Texas
Not like
somewhere?
Texas. Yeah. I want to keep wanting to say Texas Christian, but I think it was like Houston Christian or something like that.
Yeah.
Something weird. So I was looking it up the other day because I was like, damn, where did and I was just because I thought that he played nickelback or safety or something like that, and that's what he started off as. But I guess his last year in college they transitioned him and had him like
Mhm.
playing edge, playing rush, like doing all that stuff. So
It's a good skill set to have. I mean,
yeah, yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
all right, and then I mean, other than Tanner, you mentioned Tank. I thought Tank played well, and what do you think on this? I think that there was a point in time where Nick's like, "All right, let's keep Tank a little bit fresher for the playoffs," because all I saw was Will Shipley for most of the second half there.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the case. I just I think they need Tank healthy for the postseason for sure to spell Saquon. Having said that, they still have to use him. Like you can't have him healthy and then not use him, right? So like
True.
getting 1 or 2 carries isn't going to get it done in the playoffs. Tank should be getting 7 carries in the playoff games, and Saquon should be getting 15 to 20. Like that's
Yep.
the recipe for winning, right? Because Tank is literally that guy. You give him the ball, and there's a reason why his name is Tank. He hits the hole like a goddamn tank. Like he just runs full speed. He doesn't jump cut. He doesn't do anything like that. He's running it straight down your throat, and he's saying, "Stop me!" Like that's it. That's it, and
It's
that's what
almost
we
like
need.
Kobe Dean on offense.
Perfect analogy. 100%. That's what I thought of too, man. He just as soon as he gets the ball, just going. He's going full speed, and I love every bit of it because it is like the complete complement to Saquon because Saquon's the jump cut. I'm gonna
Yep.
make you miss. I'm gonna spin. I don't think Tank can spin. I don't think he can hit the L1 R1 buttons at all on
No,
his
I
remote.
don't think he's programmed that way.
No. He wants to lower his shoulder and try to take you out. And I love it. I'm here for it.
No, and I mean, like, to Tanner McKee's credit, I will say, I think throwing for 263 yards with, for the most part, the backups. And I mean, I will say his best drive probably was when Devontae was in there. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think the play calling, like, why, like, was this more, let's try to save as much as we can? Or, I mean, because it was pretty consistent with what we've seen all year, where all right, as Jalen always says, we're playing not to lose instead of playing to win, and that second half play calling 100% was we're just playing to not lose.
Yeah, and I that's honestly, that's what I felt watching it. I felt like that's what they were trying to do because they had a lead. I don't think that the Bears game had any impact on how the play calling was or what their decision making was or anything like that. Um, I just think that that's honestly just what Patullo is. Like that's what he is. He's very conservative when it comes to stuff like that. And we witnessed that for almost a decade straight with Andy Reid because that's how Andy Reid would do it. Like they'd get a lead and
Yeah,
then they'd start not playing how they played to get the lead. And like we noticed that with the Jim Johnson defenses. It's like why are you playing a prevent right now, or why are you playing a zone when you're holding these guys to 3 points? Keep the pedal down. Like
go at him.
that's what we want as fans. But like I get it. Like at some point they're not the only team that does that either. So like it's obviously something
No,
that everybody does.
it's the analytics, man. It's the
Yeah,
analytics.
yeah, it might be. It might be. Maybe that's what it is. They're smarter than we are. Well, I can't say that, but they're in their job for a reason, and we're not.
True. What's the chart say?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, other than that, I don't even know if there's anything to talk about with that game. I mean, it was essentially a glorified preseason game. They ended up with the 3 seed. They seem happy with it. So, as far as I'm concerned, listen, they prioritized the rest over the 2 seed.
Yep.
Nothing we
Yep.
can do about it at this point.
Well, here's the thing, and like people need to realize this. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, the 2 seed was there for the take." Yeah, but like it would have been a different story if before the game it was the Eagles knew if they win they get the two. But they didn't
Yeah.
know that. And the NFL made sure that that wasn't going to be the case, right? Because they wanted to make sure that there was competitive games and all that fun stuff. So that's what they did. Yes, we knew that the Lions were probably not going to lay down for the Bears. We knew that there was that chance, but at the same time, you still needed the Bears to lose. So everybody flipping out and being angry about it can stop and stop crying like little babies because that hit on like that tackle on Calcaterra, had that been Dallas Goddard, everybody would have been like, "Oh, what
Yes.
was Nick doing playing the starters? Goddard got hurt." Really? Like that's where we're at. What if Saquon would have got
But
a concussion, or what if Jalen would
yeah,
have got a concussion? Like we can't,
or worse.
exactly. And like I get it. Like you can't go into a game scared of injuries because that's typically when injuries happen, right? But like you can't get injured if you don't play. And I was completely fine with them resting. Nick and look, this is gonna lead me to my 2 cents real quick. Nick knows his team better than we do, right? We're not there with the guys. So he's in tune with them a lot more than we are. We think we know them, but we don't know them. He's with them every day. You know what I mean? So that's a little different. So shout out to Nick. Nick made a decision early in the week. He was resting his starters, stuck by his decision, got tons of criticism and tons of questions after the game about it, stuck to his guns. stuck by his decision, didn't waver, didn't anything. And that is the balls of the greatest coach in Eagles history. That's what you need right there. You need a guy that's just going to make a
Yep.
decision, and whether right or wrong, indifferent, you're not going to please everybody. He doesn't care because he made the right decision that he felt was the best for his team. And look, at the end of the day, rest was more important, and everybody knows that our identity is running the ball. Well, we can't run the ball with a banged up offensive line. You give Jurgens,
Also true.
Dickerson, and Lane Johnson a little bit more time to heal up and come back for the playoff rush. That's going to help our run game. Chances, at least, right? It's going to help the chances. They still got to make the
Right.
blocks, but it's going to help. So kudos to him for doing that. Kudos to him for sticking up for his decision and not wavering in the face of scrutiny, in the face of criticism, and everybody trying to jump on his case. Oh, we could have got the 2 seed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Jordan Mailata said it best. You got to play who you got to play. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, I agree. And look, I'll be completely transparent, and you can go back and check the tape. I was in the camp. I would have rather seen them play, even if it was for a half. I wanted to see them play. But once he said they weren't playing, listen, that's his decision. I mean, I understand the argument. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but to your point, kudos for him for not caving into the pressure and making excuses. He flat out said in the press conference, I'm paraphrasing, but look, that's what I prioritized, and that's the way
Yep.
I wanted to do it, and that's the way I did it. And like I said, like I don't necessarily want the coach caving in to pressure. Like it's not WWE where all of a sudden Jey Uso's the champion because the fans want him to be champion. Nick's
Right.
like, no,
Right.
we're resting.
Yeah, well, and you look, and I know there was flag. Oh, well, he said he's resting, but he started Devontae to get his 1,000 yards, but he wouldn't do that for Saquon last year. Look, I love Smitty, I love him. Glad he's on our team. I've said it numerous times this year, but I think we'd all be foolish if we're comparing Devontae Smith this year and his impact on this offense to Saquon last year and his impact on that offense. We're foolish if we're
Right.
comparing the two and saying they're the same. It's not the same. It's different.
It's not. And but also too, keep in mind some of those offensive linemen wanted to have the week off. So you're not going to put your bell cow, the guy that carried you to where you were last year, behind guys like Fred Johnson. Nothing against Big Fred, but it would have been Fred Johnson, Brett Toth, Tyler Steen. Like
Matt Pryor.
the only way you do that is like everybody wants to play. And Saquon was just like, look, whatever the team decides, that's fine with me. Like
Right.
he could have had the record before then if he didn't say let the young guys eat. You know what I mean? So I,
Yep.
that annoyed me this week. The whole comparing of the two situations.
Because they're not the same. You know what I mean? No two situations
No,
are ever the same, and this one in particular is not the same. And look, two throws. Granted, he could have had it on one throw, but like it was like two throws, two catches, and he had his yards. So, and then he was out of
yeah,
the game. Like that was it. That was it. So we said before the game, I would like to see Smitty get 1,000 because that means a lot. You know, having X amount of 1,000 yard seasons as a receiver, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So like I appreciated that they did that. You know, I didn't have any issue with that because it's not the same. It's not the same at all, and people need to stop belly aching and crying over that crap.
yeah, and I mean also too, I didn't hear as much outrage until after the Lions beat the Bears in the week leading up to it. Like that was my thing. Like if you were fine with him resting the starters on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever he announced it, you can't then be upset that he didn't do it when all of a sudden you
Hey,
see what happened. You know what I
right?
mean? Like, if I would have been like, no, you messed up, you should have done that. At least I said from the beginning I wanted to see the starters. But like,
Yeah,
so many people getting so loud. I'm like, you were okay with this, and now because you saw what could have been, now you're like, oh,
yep.
well, you messed up, Nick.
Well, you and I have played poker. What it reminds me of is like I folded, but then I look at my cards after the fact. And I'm like, oh shit, I would have won that hand. Well, you folded. You didn't win the
I would
hand,
have
so
had a
you can't.
flush.
Right, like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter at that point. So if you made the decision that you were happy that he was resting, then the results of the other game come in. You're like, oh well, we shouldn't have rested. You can't. Like that's waffling of the
No.
biggest degree. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just let it go. It's not the end of the world, man. Not the end of the
No,
world.
but I mean, no, and I agree. Shout out to you, Nick, for sticking to it and just saying, "Go ahead." Like, yell at me, rip me, and
Yep.
truthfully, you've been ripped more for other things than you are right now,
Yeah.
so
Yep. Yep. So I had no issue with it, and kudos to Nick, man. He's always going to be number one in my book for that. And look, I know that there was a certain coach down 95 that just got let go, and people were like, "Oh, there's Eagles ties. Let's bring him in." Stop it. Stop it. People are like, "Do you think we? If Nick loses Sunday, do you think they fire him and bring in Harbaugh?" Stop. Just
no,
stop. It's not going to happen. I know that there's a Harbaugh tie there with Laurie from almost 30 years ago. It's not happening. Just let it go. It's not going to happen.
no, no. Oh, well, I mean, I've heard Stefanski. Well, he's a local guy. You can bring him back and be
Yeah, St. Joe's
the
Prep, right?
offensive
Isn't that where he
coordinator.
went? Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, come on.
Um, Mike McDaniel, I heard already. Who was the other one I heard? The guy that used to be the coach of the Cardinals,
Oh yeah,
not
the
our
dude
old guy,
Kingsbury. Kingsbury.
Kingsbury. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, just, just
Look,
pump the
if
brakes a little bit.
if you're gonna move on from Patullo, the perfect person to bring in as offensive coordinator and at least make the phone call to see if he'd be interested is Frank Reich, because you know he
Yeah,
doesn't want to head coach anymore, right? So that's your Vic Fangio on offense. He's a great offensive coordinator. Let's see what he can do with Jalen, but then Jalen will get his offensive coordinator for the next few years. We get an offensive coordinator that we don't have to worry about leaving after this. And like, I don't know
yeah.
if Nick does that to have a feather in his cap. Like, oh, look, I got all my
Here's
offensive
my coaching
coordinators
tree.
promoted. Yeah, like that's just dumb. Yeah, look at your coaching tree. They all flake out after 2 years, like they're all getting fired. So I just if we
Well,
ever do make
Steichens
the
probably should
change,
have gotten fired.
yeah, I don't understand how he's still got a job. That's crazy. They're just chalking it up to injuries, I guess, out there.
I guess, but they didn't quit on him either. So I guess that played a role in it. They played hard. That's why I was surprised that Mike McDaniel got fired. The fact that team
They
should
won
have
five
probably
out of
quit on
six,
him.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they should have quit on him, and they didn't, and they fired him.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's because of our good buddy and our old friend Troy Aikman going in there helping them
yeah,
clean house and look at that stuff and evaluate it. I guess he just doesn't like him.
must be the pants.
Yeah, yeah, it has to be the pants. Probably still has too many concussions.
We gave him a couple. Andy Reid, I forgot he played in the Andy Reid era. That the pickle juice game, he left with a concussion.
Yeah, yep, yeah. He was there till like '01, I think. I think
Hmm.
that's when he finally retired, something like that.
Well, I mean, thanks to Nick, they are going into the playoffs pretty healthy, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, they are.
so mission accomplished there. Jacoby Dean flat out said, "I'm playing." He's like, "I don't
Oh
care
my
what my
God, yeah.
designation is. I'm playing."
Yep, and I think Lane will be playing as well. I'll be shocked if Lane doesn't get out there because this might be Lane's last year. Let's just be honest. Let's talk about it. It may be Lane's last year. He's not going out with a Liz Frank injury. He'll probably say, "Shoot me up as much as possible. I'm at least giving it a
Yeah.
shot." You know?
What a shit show that was this week, though. Did you see that? Hear Baldy talking about? I don't know if he's going to play or not. I'm pretty close to him, and then he quick backtracked it.
Yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous, man. Like that's. I think a lot of these guys when they go on these shows, they just make comments and they try to rage bait people at this point. He's
Yeah,
been
and
out
then he's
since
like, "Oh,
October, like the end of October. Like he's been out 2 months. Like
it's two
if he
months."
can't,
Yeah,
right? That's 8 full weeks. Like if he can't heal from a Liz, I know Liz Frank is painful and all that stuff, but like if he can't heal in that much time, then they should have put him on IR, like season-ending IR, and tried to sign
but
a offensive
right.
lineman.
But I think because that's what Chad Lewis had in the NFC Championship game that year, but he tore his or broke it or something where
He
he needed
broke it.
surgery,
He broke it and
and,
needed surgery. Yeah.
and Lane didn't need surgery, so he should be back, and unless they were just holding him out and they're ready for him to be full strength on Sunday.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they talked about him potentially being available for the Buffalo game, and then I
Right.
knew going into last week he wasn't going to play because they didn't play anybody. But like, if he was
Mhm.
ready to play in the Buffalo game, but they didn't, they sat him out for that. There's no way he's not playing in the playoff game, especially if this is his last
I
season.
agree.
Like I said, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he when he does decide, he just stays out and doesn't pull the Jason Peters card, and who I don't think officially is still retired yet.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think Lane's that guy. I think Lane knows and plus him and Kelsey are tight. Kelsey probably could have played another year, but he didn't want to put his body through it. It was like a lot
Yeah,
on him, and I think Lane realizes that right now. Like, look, Lane's a physical freak. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a freak, an athletic freak. But like, let's be real. Like, you're in a position on the offensive line where it's not exactly healthy to your body. It's not nice. Like you're pounding
no.
guys left and right on that offensive line.
So, I mean, before we get into, well, I guess let's recap last week first and then get into this because I want to get your take on something too. But I, we tied again,
Yes,
thanks to Tank Bigsby and a Tanner McKee touchdown pass to Grant Calcaterra. 5, 6-6. Hopefully, there's 4 more games left to decide this thing, but I don't know. I
love it.
mean, we both thought the Lions were going to beat the Bears, so we did have half of that one,
We did. We did. We did. Ended up being
but
a good game too.
it was that team doesn't play well unless they're down big,
Yeah, it seems like
except
it.
for against the Eagles.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. It's crazy.
So heading into the playoffs, I, personally, like I think, and yeah, the 49ers have experience, the Rams have Super Bowl experience, but I think the Eagles are by far the most experienced team. I think in a wide open NFC, I feel that that's going to take them a lot. So for me, my take is, and I would love to know what you think. The only team that is in the playoffs right now that actually scares me that can beat the Eagles are the Eagles. Like if they're more talented, and I caught slack for this week. They're more talented on both sides of the ball. They might not have played like it on offense than any team in the NFC right now. If they just play 80% offensively of what they're capable of, I don't think anybody can beat them, especially the way the defense is playing. Now, can they shoot themselves in the foot? Absolutely. We've seen it. So that's why they're the only team that really scares me.
Yeah, no, like I don't disagree with that. I think the question going into the playoffs is literally just what can this offense do? Can this offense score enough points to win? And what is that threshold because of how good our defense is playing? So, there's protecting the ball, and then there's also being smart with the ball. And we've said it numerous times. I don't need points every single drive, but I need them to get a few first downs and keep our
Yeah.
defense off the field
Move
so
the
they can
ball.
rest. That's it. That's it. You get in the field goal range, great. If you don't get in the field goal range, play the field position game. You got to be smart now. It's a different time. I'm not saying you have to play tight like how we see in baseball playoffs where those those 6-5 games are now 1-0 games in the playoffs because everybody plays tight. We're not asking for that, but like move the ball and get some first downs. Like that's what we need. They need to run the ball effectively. If they can run the ball effectively and at least get more than 3 yards a carry, they need 4 yards a carry, right? That way you can run the ball 3 times. And then look, on the
Right.
play calling that you brought up from last week, 3rd and 2, why are we passing? 2nd and 2, why are we passing? Tank Bigsby's averaging 6 to 7 yards a rush. Keep running the ball. Extend the sticks. You know what I mean? So you got that, and I agree with you. I just think our the mentality is different. So like out of all the quarterbacks in the whole playoffs, I don't think there's one that I will take over Jalen Hurts right now because he's proven it. He's proven it.
Right.
So, look, I know Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I'm not disputing that. But he hasn't won anything. He hasn't won. He hasn't even made a
No.
Super Bowl. So, and everybody can stop with the Jalen was carried. Jalen was carried. Look, we've been through this. It's a broken record. On the grandest stage, when the lights are brightest, he usually comes up big. Now, I don't know if you saw his interview. Somebody asked him like, "What is what do you think about that? Where when the lights are brightest, you play clutch and your clutch gene comes out." He goes, "Well, some people just have it in you, or just have it in them." And
Yep,
and
I
the
saw
reporter
that.
goes, "Do you have it in you?" He goes, "I just answered your question." He didn't say yes or no, but he was like, I was just answering your question." So I I think, and I played that for heads last night, and I was like, 40-point game, 400 yards out of Jalen, 400 total yards out of Jalen. He's locked in. He's locked in, and he came out and said, and I think you saw this too, that we were talking about it. The identity of this team is we don't care what it looks like as long as we win.
Yep.
It took them all year to finally come out and say it, but they don't care what it looks like. They just want to win. And as fans, everybody needs to get over the flashy, oh, we threw for 400 yards and 40 points. Yeah, but you lost 41-40. I don't care about that anymore. I care about wins. I don't care if it's 3-2 as long as we win.
Yep. I mean, and then all of a sudden you're dangerously into like Dak Prescott territory. Like he had a ridiculous season, should be getting MVP consideration. But how'd that work out for him?
7 wins. That's how it worked out. 7 wins. Guess what
Yeah,
they did last year? 7 wins. It's 2 years in a row with 7 wins. Meanwhile,
but he's got the
back-to-back division
numbers. He's
champs,
got the numbers.
back-to-back division champs, made the playoffs 5 years in a row. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to never miss the playoffs in the first 5 seasons as a starter. It's a stat.
No,
Everybody can look it up.
right. And I think too sometimes, and like we talked about this before, the idea of the lists and where does it rank. Everybody's so concerned about that. But to me, it's a loser mentality. Like, why fight? Like, and a lot of these people that are fighting it are Eagles fans. And it's like, what are you fighting about? This
Mhm.
dude does nothing but win.
Right.
Sometimes the defense carries him. Sure. Sometimes he might throw for 98 yards in a game. Okay. But he's putting this team in position consistently to win. And at the end of the day, I'd rather have that than Josh Allen numbers or Drew Brees numbers or uh, Peyton Manning or well, maybe not Peyton Manning because he did win too. It was a poor example, but Dan
Yeah.
Marino, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? All the
Yep.
numbers in the world. Um, I don't know. It's just it's bizarre to me, but I agree with you. I feel like he's gonna if he has to change the plays and kind of go rogue. I think he's gonna do that a lot if he has to.
Yeah, and look, before we get off the Dallas bashing, I just wanna throw out for all the people that say, "Well, it's not Dak, it's the defense." It is Dak. He's making 60 million against the salary cap, so they can't pay anybody on defense because they're stuck paying his dumb ass. So it is Dak. It's 100% Dak because he will not restructure his stupid contract like everybody else does. You know why Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls? Because he restructured his contract every single year to keep the teams together and make sure they could
Yes,
provide quality people. That's why he has 7 Super Bowls. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback, but he was smart enough to realize that, hey, I'm going to get my money.
it's a team
Let's just
game.
restructure. Exactly. So, he's not selfish like Dak. So, all right, that's enough. That's enough. They're not in the playoffs. It's
But
not worth wasting energy on.
I know, and you just clicked something in my head. I had a guy going at me on YouTube this morning because I put it was the anniversary of
Yeah.
Randall's last game when they lost in Dallas when Rodney Peete got knocked out. Also happened to be the anniversary of the last time the Cowboys went to the NFC Championship game. And he's like, we live rent free in your head. But all these years, you got 2 Super Bowls. You're never going to catch up to me. And I'm like, you're missing the point of what I'm saying. It's straight facts. Like, I didn't throw anything. All I said was also the last time the Cowboys went to the NFC Championship game. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm old enough to remember when Cowboy fans would throw it in our face, and we were not even a threat. We were a second class team through most of the 90s after
Hmm.
Buddy Ryan left. and they still threw it in our faces. So
Yep.
talk about rent free. It's been 30 years and we're still living in your head. So
All
just
because they
wanted
were
to,
pissed off over the 1980 NFC Championship game. So for all
right.
those years after that, they were so pissed off that that's why. That's why. That's why. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So there's your rent free.
Yeah, exactly. Not no brag, just fact. No brag, just fact.
Yeah, I was like, listen, the dates are the dates. It's like it's in the history books. Like I can't control that. They're the longest team without an NFC championship. That's
Oh,
facts. Like I
and I do want to throw this out there too. So, as much as we bash the Cowboys, it's been 33 years, I think, or 34 years since the Redskins/Commanders have made a Super Bowl. So let's not act like the Redskins are this storied franchise that has done anything either. Yes, they made an NFC Championship game, but they broke that
how'd
drought
that work
last
out?
year. That's all. Yeah, they broke the drought. That's all it was. So they're in the same boat as the
Good
Cowgirls
point.
here. So let's not get it twisted. Shout out to Paul for
Meanwhile,
that one.
Commander fans are like, why are we catching strays? We didn't say
Yeah.
anything.
Because you're stupid head coach Dan Quinn. Can't stand that guy. What a punchable face he has.
All right. So great, perfect segue right there. Speaking of punchable faces, 49ers.
Yes, all of
And
them.
I mean, take your pick. Kittle, McCaffrey, Shanahan, Purdy. They all have punchable faces. Trent Williams,
Mhm,
punchable face.
mhm.
But is this a rivalry that they seem to think it is? I I don't know if they're on my radar.
No, it's a rivalry for them because they're jealous of the last few years, right? Because we've had the success that they wanted. You know what I mean? So like that's basically what it is. Like we
Yeah,
we accomplished what they couldn't accomplish because they made the two Super Bowls, they lost them. We went to two Super Bowls, we won one, right?
we won.
And that's basically what it is. I think that's their fan base is pissed off about it, and they're jealous because we actually accomplished what they wanted to do. So I think that there is a little animosity there between the players, but like the 2022 NFC Championship, like half those players that were on that defense aren't even on that team anymore. So like
They're not there. Yeah,
yeah, so between the fan bases. Look, I don't like any other fans that come into our stadium. I don't like any other team's fans. So, if you want to call that a rivalry, okay, but I don't like anybody when it comes to that stuff. If you're not a fan of the Eagles, I don't like you. Like that's what it is.
right.
If we play you, I don't like you. Once the game's done, I'll tolerate you unless you're a Cowboys fan. Like that's basically what it is, you know?
No, I just because I heard the guy on the radio and like it's almost like they're trying to manufacture something to get the team hyped up. He was like, "Oh, that crowd's not that loud. Seattle's louder. What? Seattle's stadium is built different. It is louder." But
Right.
he was like, "It's not that loud. And if you're not loud at a playoff game, what are you doing anyway?" And I'm like, "Dude, what are you even talking about?" Like
Yeah,
it was a
it's just rage
bizarre.
bait stuff. Yeah,
And I just
that's
kind
all
of
it is.
looked. I'm like, I'm not even mad at that. I'm just like, you're an idiot. But enough about that.
Yeah.
So this is the rubber match. This is the third time they've played in the postseason. Each team's won one. Um, I don't know if anybody out there, you young kids, back after the '96 season, they played a disgusting Candlestick Park. It was rainy. It was muddy. Or was it Ty or it was Ty Detmer was the quarterback, I think, for that
Yes.
Eagles team that day.
Yeah.
So Niners won it 14-0. Of course, the 22 NFC Championship game. I think the biggest matchup that everybody's been talking about, and it's the one that intrigues me the most, is Shanahan versus Fangio. But over the course of his career, Fangio has kind of owned Kyle Shanahan.
He has. Having said that, Shanahan has had pretty shitty quarterbacks during those
He
games. You
has.
know what I mean? Like he hasn't had Brock Purdy. And look, I'm not glazing Brock Purdy in any way, shape, or form. I'm not talking him up and making him seem like he's Joe Montana over there. But Brock Purdy is a pretty solid quarterback, and he does
He
pretty good
is.
things
He
for
is.
them. So, I'm not saying that if Shanahan had Brock Purdy in those games, it would have been any different. All I'm saying is he didn't have him then. But having said that, it is what it is. And you can always, similar to how Sirianni has lived rent free in Sean McVay's head. I think Fangio lives rent free in Shanahan's head in some way. I
I
think
do.
he knows in the back of his mind that this guy always has a defense that I can't seem to scheme up against. He always has an answer for whatever I'm trying to do.
And I mean, he said as much. If you watched his press conference, I forget whether it was yesterday or today, he kind of he was very complimentary about Vic Fangio, rightfully so. But it just seemed
Sure.
like because he's got a little bit of cockiness to him, and I didn't see that out of him in that press conference when he was talking about Vic.
Yeah, he definitely he's one of the few, well, not one of the few, but he definitely has a punchable face for a head coach.
One hundred
Like
percent.
smug, he just looks arrogant. You know what I mean? Like he's one of the
Mhm.
few people that like you just look at him and before he even talks, you're like, what an arrogant prick. And like to your point, in his press conference, he didn't come off that way. He actually came off as like, uh, I hate to say this, but he almost came off as likable. Like you could like him.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah, like it just it wasn't the arrogant prick that we're used to seeing. Like I'm smarter
Yeah.
than you type thing. That's how he always comes off. Like I'm smarter than you are.
And to his credit, most of the time he is smarter than a lot of the
Hmm.
defensive coordinators that he goes up against.
Yep.
But I mean, not Vic. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all. That's the way I look at it. And I think that's going to be. I think Vic's going to have, especially with N'Kobe coming back. I think he might have a few new wrinkles in there for this week.
Well, especially with Jahad Campbell playing the last few weeks and getting those reps, I think that's going to play dividends in the playoffs too. Because now he knows that he can run that guy out there and not have a huge drop off. I think that's going to help. It's going to be fun.
No, and I do. And then on the other side of the ball, I I feel like a broken record at this point. I feel like this is probably this is our 18th game that we've done this podcast for, and I would say at least 12 of them I've said this for, but they have to be able to get it going against this team that's their defense, their front line is terrible. Their linebackers are banged up. Their corners aren't that good. Sure, a lot of that's injuries, but the Eagles have to be able to get it going this week, right?
Yeah, yeah, and like I'm sure we'll get into it with the keys, but there's certain ways to attack that defense, and if Patullo can't figure that out, and we all know what they are, then that's going to be a problem, right? If Nick can't figure that out, and
Yeah,
and look, I know Jalen doesn't like to throw it over the middle and do all that stuff. It's there. It's there against this defense. They
it's
just
going to be
signed
there all
Kaiser
game.
White. They just signed Kaiser White off the waivers, right? Because they're so depleted at linebacker. So they signed him off the couch, basically, is what I'm hearing. So I don't know if he's going to play, but like, what does that tell you? So and I'm not discrediting their NFL players, but like, look, there's definitely some holes back there, but not taking anything away from Robert Saleh, man. He's a great defensive coordinator too. Not that great of a coach, the head coach, but he's a hell of a defensive
Yeah.
coordinator. So that's going to be that's that's probably the more important matchup than Vic versus Shanahan.
Yes.
It's Patullo versus Saleh. That's probably the bigger one.
No, and I was going to bring him up because do you think like Salah seems like the kind of guy that would do something like this too? You think he's going to dial up certain packages that allow Bryce Huff to like do something, or do you think that that's overthinking for a playoff game?
No, I don't see him. I mean, if the scheme fits, sure, but like let's we can put that narrative to bed too. So like, hey, this is not a Bryce Huff revenge game. So like, oh well, we took you out of we took you out of jet purgatory, brought you to Philly. you didn't fit the scheme. So instead of us forcing you out there to ruin your value, we just didn't play you. You still won a Super Bowl ring for being on the team. And then we do something that's very unlikely that doesn't usually happen, but we trade you to a team that actually fits your scheme with your defensive coordinator that you used. Like, we, if he has any revenge towards us, he's an idiot. Like, he should not be angry
Well,
towards the Eagles organization in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it didn't work out, but you got your bag, and now you're with Robert Saleh again. So good for you, buddy. So, like, if you're
you got
angry
your
with the
ring too.
Eagles, yeah. So if you're angry with the Eagles, then you got bigger issues, man. Simple as that. So I don't buy into this Bryce Huff revenge factor. I do think that he's a serviceable defensive end, and I think he could make some plays, but I don't think Saleh's gonna strategically scheme it up to help Bryce Huff get his revenge on the Eagles or anything like that.
No, I mean, I guess you're right. I could see Salah has that same kind of face though. Like, just it seems like the
Yeah,
kind of dude that would do
yep,
something like that.
yeah. I look, I can see him drawing up a lot of different things to try to confuse Jalen. But look, I think Jalen put all the haters to bed this year with the whole let's blitz Jalen. Doesn't know how to read a defense. He's a top-rated quarterback
Yeah,
against a blitz.
that's
So let's put that to bed. Let's put that to bed. He shut everybody up
yeah.
real quick, real quick.
Feel like that should be the if when they do the end of the year videos, that should be the 2024 Eagles or 2025 Eagles. Let's put that to bed because I feel like
Yes.
he's put a lot of those things to bed this year.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I absolutely agree.
All right, so what do you got for the three keys for an Eagles victory?
All right, man. So wild card edition, the three keys for wild card edition. Look, it's gonna start sounding like a broken record, but the run game. Can we get the run game going? Because if they can get the run game going, that sets up the play action pass, and that's where this defense is gettable. With those Dallas Goddard across the middle, Dallas Goddard on the slants, Dallas Goddard on the wings, AJ Brown slants, those RPO slants, whatever we got to do, you still need the run game to set that up. So we got to get the run game going, and I like to have a combination of Saquon and Tank. Um, I don't need Saquon running it 28 times. I'd love to see it 20 and 8, right? Tank gets 8 to 10 and Saquon gets the rest. I think that's the perfect recipe because just when you think you're going to be able to stop Saquon, then you got this battering ram that's just going to come at you full speed and
Yeah,
lower his shoulder into your face. So that's what needs to happen. That's the first key. Second key, I just touched on it. You need to attack these linebackers with Dallas Goddard. I'm not saying throw it to him 13 times for 200 yards, but that's going to be there. It's going to be there. You're going to be able to attack it. Dallas Goddard has proven he's had a career year. Use him because you don't have anything to lose now. You don't have any turning back. You're in the playoffs.
right.
Attack the linebackers. Attack across the middle. It's there. I can even see them doing a Tank and Saquon in the backfield at the same time. We saw it a couple times on Sunday where it was A.J.
That's
Dillon and
crazy.
Tank. So rolling them
Yeah,
out, putting them in coverage with the linebackers. Like, these guys are going to be all over the place. That's how you combat heavy, like heavy, uh, like fast linebackers. Like, even if Fred Warner was playing, that's how you combat it with the RPO because you make them think that you're running and then you pass it. It slows them down just that little bit, and that's all you need, right? And then the
yep.
third, defense, containment and pressure, right? Containment and pressure. We saw what Purdy can do. Purdy can be mobile against the Bears. He pulled off some moves. Like, I'm not saying it's Dougie and hitting, like doing that stuff. The dance moves were good. He's he's not Travis Kelsey out there. And look, I don't even want to give this guy
No.
credit, but he's not Jackson Dart out there. All right, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he's going to be invited to any barbecues, if you understand what I'm saying. But um, the you know between McCaffrey and Purdy, you got to have containment there. He can scramble. He can keep plays alive with his legs. So you got to make sure that what we said before, must rush. What they did against Josh Allen, must rush. keep him in containment. I
Yes.
think you have the ability to do that. Even if Trent Williams does play, I don't think it matters. Game plan stays the same. Stay in your lane, stay in your lane, and keep containment. And that's I think that's the third key to getting the win.
No, I like that, and I just saw right before we started recording that Trent Williams was full participant in practice today, but it's a hamstring. So I mean, as well as I do, it's going to be by the time it's warm today, but it's going to be
Hmm.
chilly on Sunday, windy. It's going to be one of
Game
those
time.
weird
Yeah.
winter days.
Well, here's
So
the other thing.
I
Like on top of it being a hamstring, that's a big ass hamstring. Like it's a big dude to have
yeah,
that hamstring. He has a lot of weight on that leg. So like, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not judging in any way, shape, or form because he's the Hall of Fame offensive lineman. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So like, let's give him his props. But you're going back in pass coverage against Jalix Hunt or Brandon Graham coming off the middle or coming off the edge that fast. You got to pivot. Like you could tweak that pretty easily. So it'll be interesting to see. And like you said, game time it's going to feel like 30 degrees.
yep. I mean, and Vic's smart enough to know who to rush there, maybe load up that side and test it out early. So
Blitz on that
I
side, yeah, absolutely,
but I
blitz on
did
it.
see that.
Yeah, no, it's a
All
good
right,
call
so
out.
picking up, yeah. I mean, I didn't hear anything yet about Ricky Pearsall, but I feel like his designation all year has been questionable. So and
Yeah,
we'll see at game time.
yep, yep. I hear you.
But anybody who's watched this podcast more than once knows where I'm going with the first key. Picks right up with what you said, and do your job. I think they don't have the receivers they did in 22 and 23 with Debo and Ayuk, but Chris McCaffrey is still dangerous. So you got to make sure you limit. So like Coop needs to have a good game. Coop needs to wrap up. I think Purdy is mobile. I think if you can do what you did against Josh Allen's far more mobile than what Purdy is.
Yeah,
I'm not taking anything away from Purdy because he can move, but I think if you do your job and don't try to play hero ball, you're going to be fine. And then I think that's going to open up the pressure on Purdy, which Purdy can throw a couple interceptions and get a little careless with the ball like a Josh Allen too if you put some pressure on him. So that's my first key. Second key, this team can be run on. So you've got to establish the run to open up that pass and use the middle of the field. And not only Dallas Goedert, I want to see more. I would love to see more of the AJ Brown slants where he catches it and then gets like 10 yards after the catch. And it
yep,
should be there the entire game. Like I actually watched some film for this one and I'm like, I saw what Sam Darnold couldn't necessarily do against them, but did just enough. I'm like, that open middle of the field was open in that Seattle game. And luckily, I mean, it didn't matter because they ran the ball down their throats. So use the middle and just slam it down their throats. And as far as I'm concerned, talent wise, this team is far more talented than the 49ers right now with all the injuries. So play smart, play a clean game. Don't give the 49ers any hope. But more importantly, the smart game ties in with this. If you have a chance to step on their throats, step on it and don't let them up. And I think that's what happened last week. We saw it in Buffalo. This team, for some reason, won't put teams away. If you get a chance to put them away, keep going. Pour it on
yep,
and just end it whenever you can.
yep, yep. I agree. Look, the Nick Sirianni era has kind of been like that. The only two games that we've ever saw where
Yeah.
he's put teams away were the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl last year. Usually it's they
But
take
even,
off
yeah,
they take their foot off the pedal a little bit and allow these teams to see a glimmer of hope. Don't let them see any hope. I
no.
agree with you.
And I mean, and truthfully, they had a big enough lead in the Super Bowl, but they let them creep back in slightly. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
Kenny Two Gloves was in at quarterback, but
Well,
uh,
and you might as well have been playing Keely Ringo in secondary. You know, just
he may
saying.
have been playing at that point.
Yeah, he may have. That's probably why they scored.
You mentioned his name. I was going to try to go the whole show without mentioning his name, but we made it
I,
almost an hour in.
almost. Yeah, almost. Slightly under. Slightly under.
Got it. But then for the pick, I got the Eagles winning. I can't. uh, I mean, I can. I shouldn't say I can. I can certainly see a way that they lose this game, but I just think with all the noise, with everything they've been through this season, something tells me like you saw the videos before the Super Bowl of like those speeches. I think this team is going to come together, and I got them winning 27-13.
All right. I got them winning 24-13. Just one less Jake Elliott field goal. But similar type thing. I think I don't want to say that it's a breeze by any means, but I don't think we're sweating it out till the last drive by any means. But I just think
Yeah,
they wreak havoc, man. I think they're gonna wreak some havoc on defense. They're gonna cause some problems, and I think the offense is gonna continue to do enough. It's not gonna be flashy. It's not gonna be anything like that. But as Jalen said, their identity is we win and we don't care what it looks like. And look, as a fan, we're in the playoffs. We shouldn't care what it looks like. At this point, it doesn't matter. A win or go home
this is not the time
situation,
for
you
style
win.
points.
No,
Yep.
you win. That's all that matters. So, look, as I said before, I don't care if they win 3-2, as long as they win and they're moving on to next week. That's all I care about. And that's what I
Yep.
got them doing. I got them winning 24-13.
I like it. And I feel like this game is going to play out a lot like the Packers game last year, which that game was close, but it wasn't really close. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
score said it was a closer game, but
Yeah.
the Eagles
No, I agree.
dominated that game.
I agree. I like that. I like that. All right. So, what do you got for your
You want to go
fantasy stars?
fantasy stars or?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I got Jalen, 2 touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is passing, one of them's a tush push. Um, I think they've been kind of playing possum with the tush push, so I think we're going to see the triumphant return here in the playoffs. I do think they get the running game going. I got Saquon over 100 this game. I think he's proven, even with the Giants, he's a solid playoff performer. So I think he's going to step up and realize I got to run more like Tank. I do think they're going to use Dallas Goddard a lot. So I have Dallas with 75 yards. Wouldn't be surprised if one of those touchdowns from Jalen goes to him. And then I'm going to go tried and true. I think the defense is going to, whether Trent Williams plays or not, 3 sacks and 2 turnovers. And I think that's going to end up being the difference in this game.
Okay.
And then I
All right.
do have a bonus. I have a bonus, not for the official record or anything, but Green Bay goes to Chicago, beats the Bears. Carolina outright beats the Rams. Eagles are hosting a divisional playoff game against Carolina.
Wow. Wow. That would be something. That would be something. I heard a lot of people doing or saying that like the Packers are 1.5 point favorites over the Bears, which the only reason that I can
Yes.
possibly think of is because they took the week off last week because they have a week of rest, so they're coming off a
Yeah.
bye week basically. That's the only reason I can think of.
But the weather's going to be insane in Chicago. So that's why I'm thinking like a weather game, a team that
Anything can
hasn't
happen.
been in the playoffs versus a team that's been there a couple times.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I like your Carolina pick because it's what do they have to lose? What do they have to lose?
Right.
You know? So yeah, I like that. All right, so fantasy stars. I'm with you. I have Hurts with 2 touchdowns. I think I don't know if it's going to be a touch push, but I think he does get one rushing. Um, I have Saquon with 80 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goddard. I think they have big heavy dose of DG. I think Dallas Goddard gets 60 yards, and I think he does get a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone. Um, And I got, I think they are going to exploit those AJ slants. So I got AJ with 60 yards. I don't think he gets in the end zone. I
Nice.
wouldn't be surprised if he does get in the end zone and Dallas doesn't, but I'm going to go with Dallas with the touchdown, but I think AJ definitely gets his yards because I think they do exploit those seams and get those slants going. And I have the defense with 2 sacks and 1 turnover. Because look, I think they are going to force a lot of pressure on Purdy, but I think Purdy's going to make some mistakes, and I think he's going to throw the ball away, make some bad throws, stuff like that. So I don't know if they bring him down all the time. Um, Player of the game, I'm going to go with a Jalen, but I'm not going with Jalen Hurts. I'm going with Jalen Carter. I think
Ooh.
Jalen Carter is going to wreak havoc in that backfield all day. He's going to make Brock Purdy have nightmares about him, and it's just going to be his type of day. And I would not be surprised if Jalen Carter blocks an extra point or a field goal, too. The way he's been playing all year doing that, Jalen Carter's my guy. I think he's going to be player of the game, and I think he's going to announce himself as, hey, I'm still one of the top interior defensive linemen in the game.
Pay me. Pay me.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, basically.
I never gave my player of the game. I'm going Jalen Hurts. I think Saquon's going to have the 100 yards, but I think Jalen's going to be – you're going to see a different Jalen this week.
Yeah, I think Jalen gets – honestly, I think Jalen's going to end up with like 100 yards rushing or pretty close to that because I think he's going to – there's going to be some designed runs. He's probably going to run 8 to 10 times. But he's going to run and scramble. He's going to do stuff like that because these linebackers are going to be if I'm calling the plays or if I'm scheming up this stuff, I'm making these linebackers go in every way possible so they don't know what's coming, right? So do you have to guard or
Right.
cover Saquon in the flat? Do you have to cover Saquon going on a wheel route? And then that's going to open as you're running, Jalen's running right behind you for 13 yards. That's what I see happening. I think they're going to cut the cord, let him loose. It's the playoffs. Just do it, right? Just do it. So I can see that. And you see what I did there? You see what I did there with the just do it, the Nike, the Jordan? You see what I did there? You know, full
I
circle,
see.
buddy. Full circle. Just saying.
Put the cape on, buddy. Put the cape on.
It's there. It's there for him.
Nice. I like it. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at KyleMott16. You can find me each and every week on the Clashing Conferences podcast, on the Clashing Conferences Network, on the All Sports Pod. We did one this week where we banter about sports and a little bit of everything. So went off topic. We were talking about the Pop Tarts Bowl and started talking about Pop Tarts versus toaster strudels and which one was better. And there's a clear answer. Like I don't even know why it's even a question. Pop Tarts are clearly better than
It's a
toaster
no-brainer.
strudels. Yeah, I mean, Pinky's out eating toaster strudels. Like, come on. I'm not saying, it is what it is, but it's too high maintenance. It's too much work. And then you can catch me each week too.
I'll say it.
Yeah, well, I'll say it too. Yeah, my buddy and I, my buddy Cody, we do a State of Kentucky report. It's been a sad time for Kentucky basketball lately. So we'll be tried and true, and that releases every Saturday before the games, and we have one coming up tonight. So this is the pregame for that, where I'm going to get real fired up talking about Kentucky basketball. So that's where they can find me. What about you, brother?
Nice. Every weekday, this day in Philly sports history, Monday through Friday, anywhere you get your pods and on YouTube. Also a member of the Clash of Conferences podcast, all on social media at Philly Jimbo. And I don't really have a big message for today. It's been a crazy week. So just be nice to everybody out there. That's
Here's
all.
my
Just be
message.
nice.
Here's my message, and I've said it numerous times. We both said it numerous times. Eagles fans, take it all in. Take it all in and appreciate what you're seeing. 5 straight years in the playoffs.
Yes.
This isn't common, okay? This isn't something, and all you kids that are seniors in high school, don't think that this is normal. This is not normal. Just because you're growing up with success doesn't mean that that's normal for this franchise, okay? Learn to appreciate what you have because it's not always going to be here. And that's for us too. We got to appreciate this because we have to take it for all it's worth because we didn't grow up with this. We're living in it now. So let's
No.
live with it. Let's acknowledge it. Let's appreciate it. And go Birds. Let's get a win on Sunday.
All right. Definitely go Birds. I could second that. Enjoy it, because this is no, you'd have told me at 10 years old that this is what we'd be doing and experiencing as Eagles fans. I'd been like, you're crazy. I'll just take
Yep.
one, let alone
Yeah.
sustain success. So
Yep.
enjoy it. But we will be back next week, hopefully preparing for a divisional playoff against those Carolina Panthers. Telling you, watch them. But we will be back next week, one way or the other, to recap this game. This has been the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. I'm Jim.
I'm Kyle.
And go Birds.
Go Birds.